So now that the clutch is working properly and we adjusted all that play out of it, I guess the next thing to do is to make sure it actually has oil in the rear end and the differentials in this thing, because I've never actually really done anything with it. We opened up this cover and took a look at the hand clutch. There was oil in there. I don't know if it's the right level or anything, but this thing evidently from right here back is all one common fluid type and cavity, if you will. This thing uses a dry clutch, unfortunately, like pretty much any old tractor. But beyond that, from like there back, the entire hydraulic system, the transmission, the rear end in this thing, everything other than the final drives is one type of oil. And then each of the final drives have those little oil pans on the bottom of them, and we gotta make sure there's some gear lube in there. So we'll see what kind of just absolutely rank, nasty, disgusting filth comes out of this. I don't really know what to expect. I've been driving it around for, I don't know, like a month or something without actually making sure there's fluid in any of these things. But of course, that's just around the yards. That's probably not gonna tear too much up. Famous last words if there's not. All right, let's see. Turn the parking brake off. All right, now this thing uses 3 different drain plugs, and I've been told we need to open all of them so that wherever stuff is sitting, wherever it's collected, oh, yeah, that's nice and loose. Wherever stuff's collected, it will come out. Now I'm using these KNIPEX pliers wrenches. They look kind of like a pair of channel locks or something, but as you can see, they don't have any teeth. They're made for use as a wrench, and they work really, really well. I absolutely love these things. They're German made, so they're kind of expensive, but the quality is just second to none. Put some links in the description if anybody's interested. I couldn't recommend these highly enough. So let's see here. Let's see what kind of nasty stuff. Hey, that's still kind of warm from earlier. That's fairly thin. Wow, that's actually really clear. I can see right through this. Huh, that's actually not bad at all. All right, let's open up that back one. Sorry you guys can't really see this. To be fair, I can hardly even see this. Oh, that one's stuck. Alright. Yeah, this plug is hard to see, even harder to get to. My old tractor standards, of course. I have a feeling this one's getting its threads cleaned up and a little bit of never sees applied. So either the internet was wrong or this thing's really low on fluid. Yeah, the internet was wrong. All right, oh no, get on there. Yeah, oh, that's a lot of oil. That's going everywhere. This stupid drawbar's right in the way though. All right, I'm gonna grab some of those oil absorb pads. Oh, what a mess. Well, that's why it's good we buy these things in packs of like 50 or 100, whatever it is. Yeah, there came a point when this slowed down enough, I decided it was more expedient to take a break from holding that bucket. Grab some of these oil absorb pads. These things work great. Man, I'm dropping all kinds of things I can put Amazon affiliate links to, make a couple bucks. See what we got here. I don't know if these are magnetic drain plugs, but I'm guessing that they are. And they've caught, look at that. It's nasty. And they've caught a fair amount of grit, as you can see, but we don't actually know how long this has been in here. I mean, for all we know, this is original grit that came out of the manufacturing process when this thing was built at the factory. There really is no telling. And this is why with old equipment, you really can't assume nothing. Like anytime you buy something used, my advice, like even if you buy it used from a dealer and there's only 50 hours on it, my advice is go through and change everything. Every single filter on the entire machine. Man, this is oddly satisfying to do. Every single filter on the entire machine, every single drop of fluid, all of it needs to come out because you don't know what that machine's been through. And this could actually be the original hydraulic fluid in this. I doubt that very highly. I think it's been changed before because, you know, the machine seems like overall it's had a pretty well, it's been pretty well loved and had a pretty good life maintenance-wise. But we don't actually know. There's no way to tell. All right, so it turns out the internet was overall right, but there was a little bit more to it than what I took away from the forum post I read. Mainly, this thing, in order to drain all the oil out, you have to take out all 3 drain plugs, which some would assume one's lower than the other 2, so I can see how a person would say maybe I just take out the lowest one. But I guess there's like a little divider wall or something where the transmission meets the hand clutch housing there. So I don't know, but whatever the case, we took all 3 out, all the oil came out, and luckily it was very, very clean oil. I didn't see any traces of water in it. There really wasn't much that came out on these fill plugs, and like I said, for all we know, that's 70 years worth of grit that's on these things, so very, very happy with how that went. Now we've got to figure out, I guess there's only one fill for this. Yes, I think, yeah, that's another one, isn't it? And that's another one. What is really going on here? All right, I got both fill plugs out. I guess now we just stick the drain plugs in first. Always best to remember that, and fill this still won't take anymore. Now these plugs, I think they're pipe thread plugs, so therefore I'm gonna put some pipe splooge on these threads to help them seal a little better. I hope this is appropriate. I don't really have a clue what I'm really doing here, to be honest with you guys. Normally when I put together anything with pipe threads, I just put Loctite on them. Even I do not want to do this on the tractor though. That's not appropriate for a drain plug, obviously. Sure works great on airlines and hydraulic fittings though, they pretty much never leak. Alright, come on, get in there. Which is good, but one of these fill plugs was on, one of these drain plugs rather, was on here basically finger tight, and now we know that this thing's gonna have fresh oil in it. Plus, if we hadn't done this, I might have gone an entire week without dumping like gallons of oil all over the shop floor. Can't have that happening. Alright, now, regrettably, I think there's still a couple spots on this floor that haven't been drenched in oil yet, so we're gonna see if we can take care of that. You know, actually, out of all the old tractors I think I've ever worked on, everything I've ever bought used, I can't remember a single one of them that had cleaner oil that came out of the transmission rear end on it than this one. That was pretty cool to see, and it makes me very optimistic about the future using this tractor. That's pretty much all this one has to give. Ow! There's maybe a quart or 2 in that last bucket, and I'm told this thing will take almost 5 gallons. Alright, now we'll see what kind of shape these final drives are in. As you can see, this is a very interesting design. It's one that personally I've only seen on Alice Chalmers machinery and in the Zetter, but evidently it works, so we're just going to see how bad the oil is in here, or isn't. Hopefully it's in pretty good shape. I'm not sure oil in these things ever gets, you know, used up or filled with crap. I think it's just a matter of, you know, either water and contaminants get in there or they don't. I love how easily nuts and bolts usually come loose on old farm equipment. Okay, yep, there's oil in that, and it looks like pretty clean gear oil. There's no water in that or anything. So I'm leaving that one alone. Now there is no drain on these things. You have to take this entire bottom pan off and then you fill it up until oil starts coming out that hole. Pretty much as simple as it gets. Well, so that was the good. Now it's time for the bad and the ugly, and that is that an episode or several back, however I end up editing all this stuff, I replacified the old cracked, you know, didn't trust it gasket with some RTV. And I don't know if I didn't put down enough RTV or if I just didn't wait long enough, but as you can see, that's leaking. There's oil coming out like around here. This is where the hand clutch for the tractor operates. For those that don't know and are somewhat interested in the way these old things work, it has 2 clutches. It has a main clutch which stops both forward movement of the tractor and the PTO, and it also has this hand clutch which just stops forward movement, but it allows the PTO to keep going. So the advantage of this is if you're mowing with the tractor and you hit, you know, a patch of really rough, nasty stuff or whatever, you pull back on this hand clutch or you push forward, however it goes, there's like, you know, feet of play in here. You release the hand clutch and the tractor won't move, but the mower has a, you know, however long you leave it pulled for, it sits there and chugs through, you know, whatever nasty brush you're mowing through or thick stuff you're baling or whatever. Then you push the lever the other way and you're back in business. It's kind of an early form of live PTO. That is, you know, where the tractor's
power takeoff, that shaft that spins on the back and powers implements, where that spins regardless of if the tractor's moving or not. It's a very early iteration of that. I think I used that word correctly. But whatever the case, this is where the mechanism is for it, and I guess I kind of botched that, so now we have to take all of this stuff off to get to it. Oh well. You know, I realize that most people on the internet have never made a single mistake in their entire life, which is great. I'm very happy for you, but in the real world, sometimes you have to go back through and fix your own stuff. So check it out, guys. I was thinking about this and I realized why it leaked. It was actually glued on there really well. The RTV in and of itself did its job. The problem is there's a couple random holes in here. I don't really know what they're for. Maybe there's only one, but it was on whichever side was leaking. I don't even remember. But it's just a random hole through the casting of this transmission, and this plate goes over top of it. And I guess I put the RTV like around the hole like that, so still some oil splashed out and came down the side. That and these bolt holes, I didn't actually, like if the bolt holes here, I just took the RTV up and around like that. I never actually bothered to come back and do that. So, you know, it's like they say, we do it right because we do it twice. So now the tractor is in much better shape. It looks about the same as it did before. Hopefully that RTV won't leak this time, or well, you know, I gave it about an hour to settle before I tighten those bolts down just to be extra sure. So hopefully we should be good. We have new oil everywhere, you know, from like there back, and we changed the oil in the engine earlier on. So we now know something about the condition of the inside of this transmission. A little bit worn, but probably fine. Definitely no water or like large chunks of steel or anything that came out. So really happy about that. This thing is pretty much ready to be used. There's like one other leak I want to fix on the front of the engine, but oh, that'll be a video for another day. So, oh yeah, one of the other benefits of having to go back and mess with my work again is I was able to rearrange these terminal connections in a slightly less stupid way, so they're marginally less likely to short out on the side of the battery box, which they still probably will at some point. Oh boy. All right, well, let's see. This is still the main accomplishment of the day, though. I cannot believe how much better this clutch pedal is. I mean, the wear is just gone. That washer, it's like it's a machined, you know, bushing or something. It just did so much. Let's see if I hooked everything up correctly here-ish. I like it. Probably gonna replace that alternator though. Oh no, I never turned the gas back on. Epic fail. Epic fail. Oh, you'd think I'd learn.